The inner child's deepest wound. There's something wrong with me. Let's dive into this. Let's dive into where it comes from, why it is actually a generational trauma, and what we can do about it. Watch this video. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. I'm Candace Dell. I've been working as a spiritual coach and teacher for the last 12 years. One of my expertise is in inner child channeling. I actually do a class called Inner Child Channeling. It is like a coaching session. I also have an 8-week program called Inner Work, which is a deep dive into your inner child work, into toxic relationship dynamics, into trauma bonds, into withdrawal symptoms, into all the things I talk about. That is actually now on sale for 30% off with my Mother's Day code, which is Mom30. So all of that to be said, this is a massive topic that people never go deep enough into. A lot of people ask me, like, why do I have to heal my inner child? If you don't do your inner child healing, you're not actually doing the deepest level of healing. You're going to have experiences of healing and it will never stick, because the part of you that is the sticking piece is your inner child. That's the core essence, the truth of who you are. A lot of people think you have many different inner childs. You don't. You have one that has different ages of trauma, awakening, all the things. So one of the things that I was doing in inner child channeling with a new client today, and one of the things that popped up that reminded me that this is the biggest piece in everyone's inner child journey is there's something wrong with me. Why do we think this? Well, we obviously think this because we're being treated in a way that is conditional. There's inconsistency. We don't feel chosen. We don't feel wanted. And that's because the love from our parents and society at large is very conditional, depending on conditions. But the other condition that we forget to go into is the fact that our parents will be as conditional as they are healed or unhealed. So when you grow up in a home and you're like, wow, I did this and they pulled back, or I was excelling and then I got ignored, or I was failing and then I got ignored, there's usually a double-edged sword in this situation. So you learn to fear the self because you worry that you're not worthy. And how do we know how to do this? How do we learn how to anchor in the self, right? First thing is, if you have an inconsistent or a conditional parent, you're going to have no choice but to look externally to anchor your sense of self-worth too. So we try to be with people who we deem worthy. We try to get the kind of career that seems worthy. We kind of do all that, but it's external. So it's always going to be up and down. Jobs change, people change, things change. So your sense of self is never fully anchored in the self. We have to go higher. We have to have a new relationship with God, source, universe. We have to start to understand that we don't trust ourselves or universe fully because the people we were supposed to trust were inconsistent and they never taught us how to really anchor in the self. So now we're afraid that anything, any authority, anything outside of us is untrustworthy even though we need it. So we'd rather have some identity than no identity. So we tend to attach to people that are undependable, like our original wound. So when we feel like there's something wrong with us, the deepest pain in that is you're afraid to tell anyone what's going on in your home because there's such a shame around not being loved that if anyone else knows that my parents don't love me, they'll see there's something wrong with me. And therefore that keeps us away from finding the truth of what's wrong rather than just internalizing it and thinking it's us so we can control the situation. If I'm better or more worthy or more perfect or more whatever, they'll love me, and then I don't have to face the embarrassment of not being loved because of me. But what we have to understand is when we grow up with these emotionally immature parents, it is never your fault that you're not loved. A person who is healed would never make you feel unloved because they're in true love with self. So what you have to understand is this is a generational trauma. If your parent made you feel inconsistently loved or conditionally loved, you have to understand that they are in denial of what actually happened to them. And because they're in denial of it, they must project that onto you so it can be about you. It's your fault. It can't be my fault that I wasn't loved. So it's your fault that I don't love you. Understand that. So parents like this had parents that also were conditional, were also inconsistent. And I know this for a fact because most of these people, many of my clients' parents, deny that they had a bad childhood. Or maybe they know about it, but they won't really go there. They haven't done the inner work because they have to really face it, right? That's very scary to face. We're running away from facing the possibility that I am unlovable. But what you'll always find when you go into that deep shadow is that you are actually lovable. The thing that was wrong with you is that you thought there was something wrong. right? I say this a lot. And so the parent that's inconsistent and conditional came from a place that also made them have shame. And so shame of you're not lovable. So because that shame was never healed, it must be projected onto you. So now you're the scapegoat, you're the problem, you're the reason I can't love you. Because if they were to look at themselves and their own issues and see that it's them who's not capable because of their own pain, it's too much to look at. This is why so many of you are in avoidance of your true deepest feelings. And I always say you have to get real about how you feel so you can heal. Why is that? Because if we don't get real about how we feel, we're always going to be in the shadow and we're always going to be projecting. And we're never going to feel anchored in the self. We're always going to need externals, people to put things on, people to take things from. That's supply, right? You're being supplied with a sense of worthiness, just like a narcissist is being supplied with a sense of everything because they don't have anything inside, right? They've annihilated their truth. You are just putting yours on hold because you're afraid it might not be good enough. So when we walk around with this, I am unworthy, there's something wrong with me wound, it's because we're so afraid to look and find out if it's true. We're so afraid to have the courage to discover our true essence. And so we just keep putting up with these external ideas of our essence. And we have to keep replacing that when this person leaves us or abandons us, we abandon ourselves because it's always external. To stop abandoning the self means you have to start becoming unconditional with you. I feel this way and that's my truth. The brutal honesty, the radical self-acceptance. My parents didn't know how to love me and it wasn't because of me. My parents treated me badly, and it wasn't because I'm bad. When we get to a certain age, some of us, myself, obviously, went through such deep work to be like, what is wrong with me? I did this for years, and I finally came to the concept that the only thing wrong with me was my reactions to things because I already thought there was something wrong. But the original me didn't have anything wrong with her. She was just treated wrongly. And then it was projected that it was your fault. I treat you this way because of you. I don't love you because of you. I'm mean to you because of you. You can start to see that you will always be made the reason for their inadequacy. You can start to also realize that people are who they are regardless of you. People are who they are regardless of you. It is not your fault they treat you this way. And this is my example. If I felt whole and amazing, there's no way in the world I would ever need to make anyone feel less than because I'm not triggered by them. If someone is triggered by you, it's because they didn't get to be the you that you're being. They had to deny the part of themselves that you are not in denial of. And so they make you deny it too by making you have self-doubt, making you have self-confidence issues, making you question yourself so that they can get away with blaming it on you. When you start to know the truth of you and you become self-actualized, gosh, there's nothing wrong with me. Maybe it was my parents. It's safer now to see that it's society, it's parents, it's people who are not healed. When we can see that, and we can see that how you were treated, regardless of how you were acting, was not okay, you can start to free yourself and start to line up with something higher. The creator that created you perfect for your purpose. People think that God universe is punishing like their parents, is conditional like their parents. Why would God put me in this position if it was conditional and unconditional and loving? And I said, God didn't put you in that position. The wounded people around you did. When we line up with God or source or whatever you call your higher power, because you believe that you are divine and you believe that you are good, you'll start to see more evidence of that. When you doubt God and you put false idols in front of the real true idol, you will see evidence of what that false idol wants you to see. So we have to start to understand that the true God is not your false idol. Your false idol is your parents, your money, where you are in society, your measures, your status, your car, your education, all that shit, your looks. That is all conditions. God is unconditional. God loves you no matter what. You need to start anchoring that I am unconditional with what I feel. And I'm unconditional with what happened to me. It wasn't my fault. And when you do that, the more you line up with something higher, the more your life starts to line up with something higher, the more your relationships become consistent, the healthy ones, the more your work becomes consistent, the more you inside yourself, maintaining your authenticity becomes consistent. So guys, way more on this coming. If you're interested in my inner work group, the link is below, 30% off. The link is up there. It is only 30% off until Sunday. We don't start till June. It's 8 weeks live with me. Also, all of my on-demand courses right now are 30% off with the code MOM30. When you put that code in where it says coupon, all of a sudden the price will drop. So check that out. All links are in my bio. in the description. Please share this video with one person you think it could help. I love you guys so much. If you're already not a Truth Room member, we are still open for enrollment in my Truth Room. We meet every single week with a group of people from around the world to do these deep dives on the spot healing. I love you guys. I will see you guys very soon.